Welcome to the Living Elan Podcast, where we help you reclaim your confidence and energy through taking control of your wellness. I'm Paige Hope.
And I'm Tracey Vlahos. Join us for quick chats on wellness, personal growth, hormone regulation, and more. Let me just share with you, I am super excited about this episode because, first of all, our listeners and the both of us, we really are into skincare health. Are we not?
We are, I can confirm.
I mean, let's be honest. We're not going to get into it this moment, but because, of course, the incredible product that you spent 2 years being able to help and formulating that product that is for your skin, right? So that we would have beautiful, glowing skin, that non-toxic hormone, non-disrupting self-tanner, all right? But what I'm super excited about is that this month is National Skincare Awareness Month. Now, when you first hear that, you may think of just skincare as in the products you're using on your face. But when you think about skin health, we're going to talk about your skin from head to toe. Okay? Because your skin, it's important to take care of your skin. I mean, it's your largest organ. It also is there to protect you from viruses, from different things. But let's be honest as well. We spend a lot of money to be able to have beautiful, glowing skin and to be able to have it keeping as young as possible. So we're going to spend some time in this episode really talking about, when we talk about skincare and skin head to toe, what do you do, especially as we transition from summer to fall? You know, there's that transition. And then how do we keep our skin plump, looking hydrated, and also just younger looking? All right. So, Paige, can I just say one of the first things when I met you that I absolutely love? And I'm looking at Paige's face for anybody that's just listening to this, because she has no idea what I'm about ready to share. And one of the things, and I encourage everyone, if you don't follow us on Instagram, please do, or go to YouTube and watch this, because Paige has the most beautiful skin. It is.
I'm Tracey.
She has the most beautiful, glowing skin. And I remember her sharing with me, though, that it wasn't always that way. Like, she really takes time to take care of her skin. And that's when, of course, when we first met, and she's talking about what she uses on her skin, about purging all the non-toxic products out of her life, and how it made such a difference, even with me, the way that it looked. And I thought, dang girl, if I could only tell my 20-year-old younger self, I would have started doing some things a little bit differently. And I just want to
I love it.
Well, I want to kick us off because let's talk about skincare in general. Because one of the first things that you shared with me was that you used castor oil on your skin. I was like, what? And you're like, yeah, Tracey. Like, at night, everybody's using these really expensive, as I would say, lotion, potions, whatever. And not saying there's not great skincare, because there's definitely out there. I'm going to share some of my favorites. But really just understanding your skin and being able to put product on it that is more natural, that actually helps in plumping, that is good for it. And you were like, oh, I've been using castor oil on my skin forever. I use it as my eye cream. I put it all over. I remember the first time we spent a week together, and at night you'd come out and you would have it just all over your face glowing. And I thought, oh, this really is her secret.
You're like, she's not lying. She does this. Well, you know what's funny is I actually was not always into skincare, right? Like, growing up, this was so taboo. So I actually grew up and I took Accutane growing up. Like, I don't even want to know what my kidneys and liver are like at this point, from being on Accutane, being on all these pills for acne back in the day. And little did I know I had hormone challenges way back then, right? And if I would have just gotten to the root, I would have been able to clear that up. But I actually grew up and I had really bad cystic acne in my forehead here. And then I had really bad back knee. Like, we're talking cysts on my back. And I was a dancer. So my mom had to buy me this very specific, like, deep coverage stuff that you could only get at like 1 or 2 places locally. And she would have to lather it on my back before dance recitals. And there is nothing that kills confidence than having so much acne like that. Now, granted, like I always said, because I've always been so optimistic, I always said, well, I'm so glad it's worse on my back than on my face, right? Because you can cover up, I would like have those bangs that kind of came down, like the little side bangs.
Oh, yeah.
So acne was always a struggle for me growing up. And as I started to get more into skincare, getting older, it wasn't until my late 20s when I actually started to realize the impact that what you eat affects how your skin is, and sugar and processed foods was such a big culprit for my acne. So I don't want to say like, hey, castor oil is going to solve all your problems, everybody. I had to go from the inside out. I had to heal my hormones. I had to figure out what was going on with my toxic overload. We'll talk about that in this episode, I'm sure, as well. And clean up my skincare routine to really go back to the basics. I think everyone wants to overcomplicate skincare, and it's like, you got to have this medical grade this medical grade that. You got to have a 20-step skincare routine, all of these things. And I'm like, I just use a really basic face wash that's non-toxic. I use a moisturizer and I use castor oil. And it's like, really, that is all you need. Getting back to our primal nature. Sometimes that's all you need. So, Tracey, now I want to go into kind of some of the food stuff and the hydration stuff, because again, it's not just about the products here. But thank you so much for telling me my face is glowing, because it's taken me many moons to get here.
Oh, it is amazing. And I want to piggyback on what you just said and really then get into some other things when we talk about skin care, that we're talking more than just skincare we're applying on our face. It really is what we eat. Because just what you said, I mean, yes, as we're transitioning from summer to fall, I want to just remind everybody, first of all, non-toxic products. We're going to link a blog article here in our show notes that really then gives you like some of the top products that we recommend, because a lot of people say, well, what do you recommend? Right. And so we want to make sure that we do that for you, that, we've done our homework. We've spent years. I've gone back to school in 2010 to start this entire journey and understanding all of this. And, but I will just say that even going from dry summer to, inside in your house, you may have to switch. I mean, sometimes I'm a little more on some serums. I've been using my castor oil, but then sometimes I'll layer it with some other things. So I just want to encourage you to really think about that as the seasons change. If you listen to last week's podcast, we talked all about cycle syncing and how, right, you're going to change with different seasons in your cycle, that I want you to think about your skincare the same way. But it's also food. Like, let's jump into that, because I want to stop and just share that most people cannot believe this, but I didn't even really start taking care of the skin on my face until about, I'm going to think about this, 5, maybe 8 years ago, but I'm really going to call it 5 years ago. Most people will gasp when I'm about ready to share with you. And that is, for 20 some years, I slept with my makeup on. I worked around the clock. And if I worked until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, the last thing I wanted to do was go in the bathroom and start washing my face and waking myself up. And so I slept with my makeup on. And most of us would hear things like, oh my goodness, every night you sleep with your makeup on, right? It's aging your skin. So when I really started taking care of it, I started going somewhere that they carried non-toxic products. They started doing facials on my skin. I remember being so nervous, Paige, walking in there thinking, oh my goodness, the woman is going to tell me how terrible my skin is. She's going to tell me that I'm never going to be able to have really great skin again, because I'd see everybody with these great skin. And so I remember being like, you're laying on the bed, your eyes are covered up. And I can literally remember asking her. And I thought, I might as well confess. I felt like it was okay, confession. I said, I want to tell you something, and this may freak you out, but I've been sleeping with my makeup on literally for 20 some years. And she's like, you have? She's like, your skin is good. And I remember I was like, oh, she's being kind, right? I thought, oh, she's so sweet. She's being kind. She's like, no, she's like, the elasticity in your skin. She's like, what do you use on your skin? I said, well, and I shared with her. And all of a sudden we start talking. Let's talk about food. I realized it was because of my diet, Paige. This is where I want to get into it. That it truly, I realized, and I've said this so many times the last 5 years, because my eating was so clean, I really, very often that I have alcohol. I didn't have refined sugars in my life. It was something that we're going to talk about fall. We're going to go into fall. We're going to have treats. It's okay to sometimes have, like, listen, I love pumpkin pie and all kinds of different fall treats that we're ready to come into. But because every day of my life, I mostly ate with the seasons, whatever berries or fruit was in season, right? They're very hydrating. They have antioxidants in them. I made sure even the protein that I had wasn't full of hormones. All of a sudden I started transitioning. And because I had food in my life, and we'll talk about this, that was very nourishing. Because I also remember when I first went to school, them talking about how sugar was one of the number one things that aged your skin the most because it was so inflammatory. And when your body's inflamed, you're not able to really produce that collagen. And how, just like smoking, if you've ever known a smoker, and not bashing smoker, but right, your skin starts to look older. They talked about that. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, like, wait a second. So what I want to encourage everybody right now is that was really my wake up and aha to like, oh, wow, because I had taken care of my skin on the inside. That, yes, now listen, I want to be really clear right now. I'm not sharing with anybody to wear your makeup at night, because I am proud to say that the last several years, I made it a New Year's resolution that I would start cleansing my face every single night and taking care of my skin as well. That I was happy for the grace that I had up to that point. But I also want to share with you, if you have eczema, if there's anything, I always had though kind of very scaly skin, Paige, and I couldn't understand why. Even though I had good skin, I'd had several people, share that with me, because I want to just pause here to say again, I want you to think about what are the processed foods in your life. If you can start crowding those out as we're going into fall, start thinking about, squash, pumpkin. Can you start adding some, more nuts, seeds, like whatever meats that you're having in your life, like start taking things out that are full of like hormones that are processed and start adding in the good fat into our life. Instead, adding in greens. Like for me, I definitely flood my body with greens every day. I have a really good greens that I drink every single day. That those were the things that then gave me a glowing, particular skin. But I will share with you, I was still really scaly. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, I had people make fun of me. I remember dating a gentleman, like, it's been a few years, thank goodness.
Like,
It was
your face?
oh, my entire skin, like because I was a self tanner. Okay. I always self tanned, and I didn't use non-toxic self tan because, we weren't really talking about things like that. But it always kind of looked, and I used lotions and I used oils, Paige. But I realized that also with your skin, what you eat is important, right? I definitely started crowding out the dairy. I mean, for me, I will share with you, my son, as soon as he puts dairy or anything, even gluten in his life, because it just really, for him, the microbiome in your gut, he would start getting these patches. He would start getting eczema, right? Because, and I share with everybody, I will share, just pause to say, I have a very good friend, and she works for a top, plastic surgeon here in Scottsdale. And we have well-known plastic surgeons in Scottsdale. But I will share, every time she has somebody come in, she starts with their diet. Because everybody...
It's so important. Like, it really is number one.
It's number one of everything. And so here's somebody who could probably push product, could do all kinds of things. And she said, I just won't. It breaks my heart, like you. I can't let somebody go on Accutane. I can't be like having them purchase some product and think this is the miracle. I want to teach them.
The crazy thing is, it's everything, right? And it's hard to tell everyone, hey, it's your diet, but it's also your lifestyle. Like, it's your stress levels. Like, that's why on this podcast, I really want to shout out how we're all about energy and confidence. And that's not just going to be through products, through food. It's going to be through some of our other techniques and tools that we've used along the way. But because of my ADD brain, now I'm like, wait a sec. As you were going on to that second thing, I was like, wait, she didn't take off her makeup. And now I'm like, okay, if there's anyone who was like Tracey back in the day, this is going to be the scooch I'm giving to all of you. Now, I don't know if people still do this because, quite frankly, there's so much information now. But if you don't wash your face before bed, that is your scooch. Because during your sleep, your skin literally goes into repair mode and it regenerates new cells. And makeup literally can prevent this natural process. So it will lead to a dull complexion. It will lead to you looking really, really tired, buildup of dead skin cells. I mean, we won't go into eye infections and other things that it can also cause. But Tracey, I am really glad that you came around because I'm like, listen, we all gotta be, that's an easy one you can do if you are not currently washing your face before bed.
Please. I just want to say, like, I encourage everyone to please cleanse their face at night. You know, now this is going to take me right to what I'm going to share was probably the biggest thing because I always felt like then my skin, I was so self-conscious of people looking at my skin and my arms and thinking, oh gosh, look how old her arms look. Because I will say, I feel like when you're scale, like you kind of have that scaly looking skin and you kind of look a little ashy, it makes you feel older. I'm just going to be honest with you. I was so conscious of it. So, Paige, I'm going to have to give this one to you because, you know, I started cleansing my face. I started then doing dermaplane on my face every single month, right? So now all of a sudden I'm exfoliating my face. I'm getting the dead skin off. And I remember like, oh, I'd go once a month. I'd treat myself. And then, oh my gosh, my face would be glowing. And I think, I look like 5 to 10 years younger. And oh my gosh, I looked forward to it so much, which then made me wanted to cleanse my face, put really good just product on it. But it wasn't until now, Paige truly had no idea, okay? Because she has such amazing skin. And of course, she's talking about exfoliating. It's true. Like, I can't tell you, the love of my life always says, Paige has the best skin, Tracey. Like, she has the most amazing skin. And I'm like, I know. Like, it's always. And I'm telling you, even for men listening, he is all about, he exfoliates, he uses coconut oil in the shower because he's like, your skin, it makes you look dry. He's like, you don't ever want to look older. You got to take care of your skin. I'm thinking, he's like better at this than I am. And he's always like, look at Paige, like all the time. So I'm telling you, if you only have listened to us, you need to go and you're going to see what I'm talking about. But Paige is like, well, don't you exfoliate your entire body, your whole body? I'm like, well, I mean, I use a scrub sometimes. I'm thinking to myself. And you were like, no, I've been working on this mitt. And I mean, this I'm going to put her on the spot. I'm like, a mitt? I'm like, what do you mean? I thought, oh, I don't need one more thing in the shower. I'm thinking to myself, right? Well, let me just say, it's been the biggest game changer of my life. I swear on my kids' life, like this is no joke now if I'm going there, okay? I started using this mitt. Now, I had bought these gloves one time. Nothing wrong if you're using gloves, but I'm going to tell you right now, when you use a mitt that truly exfoliates, like you watch the dead skin cells come off, it's the most just exhilarating thing because I'm like, look at those dead, scaly, agey skin coming off. And I'm thinking, I've got this fresh skin coming through. It's going to be like my face when I have it dermaplaned. I'm like, why did no one tell me this sooner?
It is crazy. It is crazy that this is not taught. And it's not like people don't really talk about it. Now, you hear a lot about dry brushing and, you know, some of these other things. But in my opinion, exfoliating in the shower is so much easier than having to dry brush at random times. I'm like, okay, just everyone dedicate one day a week to your self-care routine, whether it's like self-care Sunday, one day, I don't care what day it is. And just if you're adding one thing, it is grab a little exfoliator mitt, preferably ours because we worked really hard on it and it works really, really well. And just see for yourself. Like, I don't know, I've got some like a little tank top on today, but this is a smooth surface you got here.
For everybody out there, I'm not kidding. I was so excited to be able to share this because I mean, when I tell you I spent a lot of money, like body butter, Oh, I'm going to use the oils. Like, I mean, hello, what was I thinking? I think to myself, as intelligent as I like to think that I am, what was I not thinking that I literally needed to? Now, I will share with everybody, I love dry brushing because I say, right, it's like exercise for your inside, for your skin. Like I do dry brush, but that is truly not exfoliating. Like what I just never really thought about it before to see the dead skin roll off. Now, see, I dry brush every day because I think, oh, my skin, it's just like exercising. I'm dry brushing it, lymphatic system. That's all important to skin health. But I will tell you, doing it once a week. For me, Paige, now kind of Paige knows this. I like to do it on Thursdays. I exfoliate on Thursday. I then put my non-toxic self tanner on Friday because I love being fresh for the weekend. I always feel like, that's date night or whatever. Like, I think we're all like, it's the weekend no matter what. It has been the biggest game changer. There are times, I'm not saying always, but for me, my tan has lasted even 2 weeks. Now, listen, most of the time it's 1 week because I have to exfoliate. But I remember one time I was like, oh, I'm going to see how long this lasts because I've taken that dry skin off. I've actually let that beautiful fresh skin come on. Then the next day, and because of, and now I know this is not like this podcast here is not all about self tanner, but let's be honest, what the products, the ingredients in the self tanner is also skincare. You've got hyaluronic acid in there. You've got the things that add hydrating. So this isn't just about, yes, glowing skin, which thank you, Paige. I can take no credit for this, but it's also to everybody, you're infusing skincare into it. So now I've got all that dry skin off. Now I'm putting everything on, just like you put skincare on your face. I'm putting skincare all over my body. And it is one of the number one things that I have done. I've been so excited because I'm like, this one little myth that's under $20 has been the biggest game changer in my life to my skincare routine that I actually am no longer embarrassed. Oh, I didn't talk about how embarrassed.
I love that. That makes me so, Tracey, that makes me so happy because truthfully, again, it goes to show that we are also still working on having more energy and confidence. And sometimes there's going to be things we're changing up our routine. I mean, in preparation for this episode, I was even like, okay, well, what are a couple of my most recent glow up tips, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, of course it's exfoliating. That's been like my secret. Castor oil. I don't take credit for castor oil. I give that all to TikTok because TikTok showed me the way of castor oil. Yeah. Let's be real. But most recent one I'm bringing in is beef tallow. Like there's so many things where I'm like, okay, let's just see how my body reacts to this. Let's see going more the natural route versus, all of the medical grade stuff, which I've actually never really been into because of the toxins. But I think it's important to also write down your guys' own glow up checklist. Like what are some of the things that you want to work on within, maybe it is more on the health side, right? Where if that's dialed in, maybe you're like, I want to try to enhance my body skin or my face, whatever that is. And like, I have to give credit to Tracey on this one. Part of my glow up routine recently is warm lemon water. That really starts me off really, really well. And there's so many things that go into some sort of glow up routine. But I just encourage each of you guys to kind of come up with your own little glow up routine because it's September and this is the perfect time to reset. Tracey always says September is for resetting, which is funny because most people think of January as a reset, which you can think of it that way. But September is, we're coming into fall. We're revitalizing ourselves. We're literally like, I mean, if you want to change your identity with some things, this is the perfect time to do it. Set some things for yourself on the glow up side. It's National Skincare Awareness Month. What can you do to enhance your skin? Is it maybe getting more greens in every day for you? Is it, I'm going to give a little plug. I'm hoping to have this live by this episode. So if it's not, please ignore this part. But we do have the hormone lab tests available. And so part of your skin health journey this month might be to actually understand your hormones. And we're going to have a ton of education around that. Or some of it might be around. So for me personally, I am about to do a food allergy test because I have noticed, you guys know I'm very intuitive, and I have noticed some vegetables are actually starting to really upset my stomach. And just because it's a vegetable doesn't mean it's healthy for your body. So that's the other thing I want to really mention here is we are here as a resource. So if you ever want to know where to test, what to do, we are here, and I will take you guys along my journey on my allergy test. Because let's be real, it's not fun trying to eat, as many whole foods as possible, but finding out that, oh, some of these foods actually are not good for my body. And so now I have to figure out which ones I have to eliminate. And that is part of glowing up, if you will. Every 6 months, I'm reevaluating so many things in my life. In another 6 months, I might have another skincare holistic secret for you guys, right? But that's the joy of it too. It's all of the journey.
It's such a journey, and that's what we want, and that's what I love about the two of us, right? Is we're in different places of our journey, being in our early 30s, being in our early 50s, what that looks like. And just what you said for myself, Paige, watching my hormones, because estrogen, right, is it's huge. And we're going to have another episode about that. But because I've been literally watching my hormone journey since 2018 and doing it every 6 months and making small adjustments, it was funny that my doctor said to me, that also is what helped you with your skin. Okay. So we're going to just really encourage that, and, definitely stay tuned for that, because again, it's bio individuality, just what Paige said, and understanding the foods. And for me, people gasp when I say, oh, I have a food allergy to onions and garlic, which is such a superfood, right? Everyone loves, we know how healthy in our immune system, and I cannot. And if you do have an allergy, I didn't say allergic react, right? Because there's different, phases of it. But then if you particularly have an allergy, it's causing inflammation in your body. And if you have inflammation in your body, then that's going to affect other things, from your skin health to your brain fog to your hormones. And so we want to make sure that we're so holistic. So I'm so glad you brought that up. And right, the hydration that you were talking about, starting with lemon water, getting more greens in, having us help you with those small skincare routine, but also then helping you really understand what are those products perhaps I can add in to crowd out when it comes to non-toxic products. Because for me, one of the biggest things when I went to heal my thyroid, which we are going to do an episode on thyroid, even though I've been so good with the food in my life and different things, my hair started falling out by the handfuls. My skin got even drier because of my thyroid. And what I had to literally take over a year was little by little scooch. And I thought, oh, hey, I'm pretty much, so if you've known me, if anybody listening, I've been pretty much a wellness girl all my life, but I had to really understand those ingredients, get those toxins out that were in product, so that I could actually heal my gut, which healed my thyroid. And it was huge. So again, that's why I want to make sure that we have another episode. I'm even going to put it in the show notes, what episode to go to understand, and a blog that we did that you said, what can you look for? And what are some of those products? Because we talked about, I always say, start with your skin. What are you putting on your body? From the soap to the lotion that you're putting on, to perfume, to deodorant, there's a lot. And so that's where when it came to Skincare Awareness Month, I thought to myself, oh my goodness, we need to talk about whole body. Well, what are those small scooches that you can start adding in? Because I now finally feeling like I have confidence and not being embarrassed to show my legs and arms for the first time in my life.
Oh, Tracey, I love that. And I mean, I just have to tell you guys, you will not want to miss that episode. So I'm flying to Scottsdale to literally interview Tracey to tell her full story. And I told her, I was like, we need to do this sooner than later, because our audience is growing rapidly and they don't even know what Tracey has been through. And so I am beyond excited and honored to be the one that actually gets to help tell her story and inspire you guys, because it is so impactful. And hopefully you guys will get a lot of tips along the way, because it is so possible to heal yourself naturally. You just have to be willing to put in a little bit of work, not just on the food product side, but also on, going through healing the inner child, doing all of the positive self-talk. It's everything. And I just cannot wait. So that's a little plug for Tracey's episode. We'll let you guys know when that comes out. We might even try to do it live. We'll come back to that. I won't plug anything.
I know. Yet. I'm like, oh.
Listen, Tracey and I can't keep secrets. So Yeah, I can't talk anymore. I'm going to spill more. But I do want to just say one other thing, just on skincare health in general. We did have an episode. We went into rebounding. I know we had a lot of people reach out and say, well, what rebounder are you using? I want to learn more about lymphatic drainage. So we sent the trampoline, and we'll add that. Let's add that link again, because we did have people write in. Now, I want to also talk about the importance of lymphatic drainage, because for me specifically, again, I always have my little, like, every 6 months, I go through kind of a new globe routine. Okay, what am I going to focus on? What do I want to do? And lymphatic drainage is something that I'm so passionate about, because it's literally eliminating the toxins. And what it is you hear this a lot within the wellness space, but it's literally a process that helps stimulate the movement of lymph fluid through the body's lymphatic system to have good immune health, reduce the toxins, get rid of the waste, all of the unwanted materials, if you will. I don't know what else to call it within your circulatory system, right? Hopefully I said all of that right, Tracey. But within lymphatic drainage, there is one thing that I do. I don't have a gua sha, everybody, but there is one other thing that I want to show you guys you can do, even just with your face, because I didn't realize the people were going to love the rebounder and our lymphatic stuff last time. But if you are watching on YouTube, and if you're not, I'm going to try to explain this. But I take my 2 fingers like this, and I literally go up my jawbone and bring it down my neck. And I do that 10 times. You're literally bringing it down. I do this actually a couple times a day. In fact, I was doing it on my call with Tracey earlier today.
Yes.
I'm like, I gotta get it in. And then you're going across your forehead like this. Boom. And I'm not getting my makeup off, but this is when I have no makeup on. I have my castor oil, so it glides. And then I literally am like pulling my eyebrow up on both sides. We're doing some eye stuff. Like, I am literally getting the drainage out of my face as well, move it through my body. And so there's another skincare one for you as well. And I will say, I feel like I've gotten a little snatched doing it, especially because I've been doing it like here too. So who knows if I'm getting more snatched. Little jawline. So there's another national skincare hack for you as well. I want to give the people all the hacks that we have accumulated over the years, Tracey.
I mean, lymphatic drainage, and why she's moving it down the neck and towards like her heart is because there's certain, like in our groin area, underneath our armpits. I mean, that's where our body starts moving those things out. So we want to make sure that you're pulling it down to those areas so that it can start draining from your body. So that was really huge for me in my journey as well. And I had fibrocystic breast, and they always hurt. And it was because they said your lymph nodes are like clogged, and like you need to start doing this. So again, think about what Paige just said, swelling in your face. There's different toxins. I mean, let's be honest, we're coming into the holidays too. We're going to be probably having some foods, which we should have joy with those wonderful foods. But you know what? There are different tools that we can use and still love ourselves and be fine. But just having this routine, it's so important. So Paige, I'm so glad that you talked about that. Because again, when it comes to skincare, we're not just talking about your face and what you put on. You know, we want to help you with all of that. It is your entire largest organ that is here to protect your body, that also makes you feel really good. So,
and I will say, I just want to point this thing out. I know it sounds like a lot, right? Like, wow, how are you guys doing all of this? Well, the thing is it's literally a lifestyle. Like when I talk to people, like, I genuinely love wellness. I love helping people feel more energetic and confident. So to me, it's like you might just have to do some work on changing your identity around how you think about some of this stuff, right? Like, It's not a chore, right? It's fun. You're literally taking care of your temple. You are the temple, people. Like, it is just the way that it is. And I think if more people spent more time taking care of themselves, imagine how much better the world would be. Because Tracey, let's be real. Are you a better human when you have energy?
Oh, I'm so much better. Like there's no doubt. I think each and every one of us, when we have energy and we feel better, our vibration from our voice, The way we
Right?
interact even with people, our family, our friends, or each other, whatever that is, it just flows.
I always like to say, I'm like, listen, when I'm tan, I'm nicer. It is just the way that it is. Okay. And for me, that's confidence, right?
Yes.
Confidence and energy. And so when you think about all these things, and I mean it when I say make your own little glow up list. What do you
Yes.
want to focus on until the end of the year? Whether that is your wellness with food or your wellness with beauty. And remember, I
Yeah.
don't just say beauty. When I refer to wellness, it's just everything, right? It's your whole aura, your whole identity. So I
Absolutely.
really, really do mean that. I think it's so important to physically write it down, what you're working on with yourself, and then check back in before the end of the year and see where you're at. Write these things down. I know it sounds silly because they're not really goals, but it's how you want to level up yourself. And why not write it down and check in? Hey, how am I doing? You
I,
know?
I love it because just what you said, listen, it may just be, I want to do lymphatic drainage. You can't do this all at once, especially with women. We think it's like all or nothing. For the next 3 months, you may think to yourself, oh, what is this warm lemon water that I need to be drinking in the morning, right, to get going? And oh, what do you mean this lymphatic, like castor oil, and I'm doing the drainage on my face with my arm? That may be it. Like for now, that may be it. And then in January, it's like, you know what? I'm going to start exfoliating with this mitt. I mean, I call it, think back right now. I always say this to myself. 1 year ago, where was I? And I think about the small little changes I've done. Don't make it all or nothing. Think about the next 3 months. What do you want to apply? Maybe the next 3 months after that. Where is it 1 year from now? That's it. So your scooch, okay, Paige, because there were so many things, right? We talked about nutrition, we talked about hydration, we talked about exfoliating and lift, and then all of it, because we want you to have these tools. We want you to be able to come back to this. But what is one thing? We want you to tag us. We have all of our handles here in the show notes. What is the one takeaway, just one, that you're going to use to the end of the year? Whatever that is, exfoliating, like I said, lymph node, I mean, whatever, maybe you're going to crowd out some trans fats and put in some good fats, whatever that is for you. We want you to share with us what that is. For me, I'm going to share with everyone that I have been working on this for the last 2 months, and I'm going to go ahead and keep this to the end of the year. And for me, it was sleep. It was definitely lack of sleep was definitely showing up. And I really noticed that the last 6 to 8 weeks, I've been more intentional on it and scooching back. And I'm still going to focus on that quality of sleep so that I can repair and regenerate with everything else I'm doing. So what is your one thing that you're going to do to help you with your energy and confidence and protecting this beautiful temple and this largest organ that we have? We can't wait to hear and be able to support you on that journey.